Renato Barão, a name that once echoed through the MMA world as one of the most dominant bantamweight champions in UFC history, is now embarking on a new chapter in his career. At 37 years old, Barão has signed with the newly formed Global Fight League, GFL, a promotion designed to bring a fresh, team-based structure to the sport of MMA. Barão's signing is part of a broader effort by the GFL to attract notable names in the sport, and the Brazilian fighter is one of the most high-profile additions to the roster. Barão's career has been a fascinating journey, marked by moments of brilliance, but also filled with significant challenges. His reign as the UFC bantamweight champion was one of the most dominant runs the division had ever seen. Barão first captured the UFC bantamweight title in 2012 when he defeated Uriah Faber by unanimous decision at UFC 149. From there, Barão went on to successfully defend the title 3 times, taking down fighters such as Michael McDonald, Eddie Wineland, and in a rematch, Uriah Faber. His technical skills, especially his grappling and striking, earned him a reputation as one of the best in the world, and many experts considered him the best pound-for-pound fighter at the time. However, Barão's reign at the top was short-lived. In May 2014, he faced TJ Dillashaw, a fighter who would change the trajectory of Barão's career. Dillashaw's superior footwork, angles, and movement exposed cracks in Barão's game, and he knocked Barão out in the 5th round to take the title. This loss marked the beginning of Barão's fall from the top. He would go on to lose 3 more times to Dillashaw, along with a loss to Mitch Gagnon. These setbacks were compounded by issues with weight cutting, which seemed to take a toll on Barão's body and his performances in the cage. Despite his struggles, Barão remained a respected figure in MMA. His technical prowess and pedigree as a former champion earned him respect among fighters, fans, and analysts. After a string of tough losses, including a 5-fight losing streak that led to his departure from the UFC, many began to question whether Barão's time at the top was over. The Brazilian fighter seemed to be fighting against Father Time, and with his struggles to make weight at bantamweight, it seemed likely that Barão's career would soon come to an end. However, Renato Barão's story is far from finished. Barão's recent decision to sign with the GFL has reignited his passion for the sport, and he is eager to return to the cage in 2025. Barão himself spoke about the phone call that changed his career trajectory once again, revealing that he was initially focused on training jiu-jitsu when he received the offer to join the GFL. "I was just training in jiu-jitsu when I received a call from my manager," Barão explained. "I got it right away, I like the system, and it will be a pleasure to defend Brazil in MMA. The proposal was good actually, it could be better but anyway, it motivated me to return to an MMA training routine. I had high expectations to fight twice a year in the featherweight division and present myself in the best possible way." Barão's decision to compete in the featherweight division is significant. During his time in the UFC, the Brazilian struggled to make the bantamweight limit, a challenge that only grew more difficult as he aged. Moving up to featherweight at 145 pounds is a more natural weight class for Barão, and it may allow him to focus on his skill set without having to endure the grueling weight cuts that plagued his career at bantamweight. Although Barão's age and past struggles make it unclear whether he can regain the form that once made him one of the sport's elite fighters, the move to featherweight presents a fresh start and an opportunity for Barão to compete at a higher level in a new weight class. The GFL is set to debut in 2025 with a unique structure that deviates from the traditional individual fight format. The promotion's team-based format is designed to bring a new energy to MMA, with fighters competing for teams rather than just their individual legacies. This structure is one of the key factors that appealed to Barão, and it offers the Brazilian a chance to be part of something different in the sport. The GFL aims to build a roster of veteran fighters, former champions, and rising stars, and Barão is part of a new wave of talent that will help define the league's future. The GFL's roster is filled with recognizable names across a variety of weight classes. At heavyweight, the league boasts legends such as Andrei Arlovski, Junior Dos Santos, and Frank Mir, as well as rising talents like Greg Hardy and Philippe Lins. The light heavyweight division features fighters like Alexander Gustafsson, Thiago Santos, and Emiliano Sordin, while the middleweight division is headlined by former champions such as Gegard Mousasi and Luke Rockhold. With a lineup that includes such elite fighters, the GFL is poised to make an impact in the MMA world. The addition of Barão to the featherweight division gives the league another high-profile name, and his experience could make him a key player in the promotion's early years. Barão's return to MMA after a period of uncertainty is a testament to his resilience and love for the sport. Despite the setbacks he has faced, Barão remains determined to compete at the highest level. His experience, technical skill, and veteran savvy will serve him well as he faces a new challenge in the GFL. But Barão will also need to prove that he can still hang with the younger, more dynamic fighters in the featherweight division, which is filled with talent. The likes of Lance Palmer, Andre Harrison, and Bubba Jenkins will present significant challenges, and Barão will need to bring his best to compete with them. The GFL's innovative approach to MMA could be the perfect platform for Barão to reignite his career. With a team-based structure that emphasizes camaraderie and strategic depth, Barão could find a renewed sense of purpose and motivation. The GFL's schedule, which will allow fighters to compete twice a year, also gives Barão the opportunity to focus on his training and recovery, rather than dealing with the stress of constant fight camps. If Barão can regain the form that made him a champion, he could make a serious run in the featherweight division and solidify his legacy as one of Brazil's best MMA fighters. For now, Barão is focused on his training and preparing for his return to competition in 2025. His goal is clear: to fight twice a year and compete in the best shape possible. While his age and past struggles may raise questions about his ability to compete at the highest level, Barão's passion for MMA and his experience as a former champion will make him a dangerous competitor in the GFL. As the GFL prepares to debut in 2025, the addition of Barão to its roster signals a new era for MMA. With a mix of seasoned veterans and rising stars, the promotion has the potential to become a major player in the sport. Barão's return to the cage will be one of the most intriguing storylines in MMA, and fans will be eager to see how he fares in this new chapter of his career. Whether or not he can return to his former glory remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure: Barão is not done yet, and his journey in the GFL will be one of the most closely watched narratives in MMA for years to come.